Many lifters spend years chasing specific muscle shapes they see on professional bodybuilders. They believe that doing targeted exercises can fill in an inner chest gap or lengthen a short biceps. Anatomical science proves this belief is incorrect. The shape and visual fullness of any muscle are determined by its tendon insertion points. A muscle belly connects to the skeleton via dense collagen tendons. Where that tendon attaches to the bone dictates the physical length of the muscle belly. A shorter tendon allows a longer muscle belly, creating a full appearance even at rest. A longer tendon leaves a gap between the joint and the muscle tissue. Exercises increase the thickness of existing muscle fibers through hypertrophy. Exercises cannot alter the physical location where a tendon fuses to the bone. Understanding insertion genetics prevents wasted effort on impossible physical changes. The biceps brachii inserts into the radial tuberosity of the forearm. When flexed at a 90-degree angle, the distance between the elbow crease and the muscle belly reveals the insertion length. If you can place 2 or more fingers between your elbow crease and the flexed biceps, you have a high biceps insertion. A high insertion means a longer distal tendon and a shorter muscle belly. This structure creates a high, dramatic peak when flexed because the muscle mass is compressed into a smaller area. However, when the arm is extended straight, a noticeable gap remains near the elbow joint. A low biceps insertion leaves less than 1 finger of space at the elbow. The muscle belly extends all the way down the arm, providing massive thickness when relaxed. No amount of preacher curls will extend a high biceps insertion downward. Hypertrophy increases the peak size, but the tendon length remains permanently fixed. The chest profile is defined by how the pectoralis major attaches to the sternum and clavicle. In individuals with favorable sternal insertions, the muscle fibers originate directly along the center line of the sternum. This creates a seamless, full chest look with minimal spacing between the left and right pectoral plates. In contrast, some lifters possess wide sternal tendinous gaps. Their pectoral muscle fibers originate further out from the center line of the chest. This leaves a visible bare gap over the sternum where no muscle tissue exists. Lifters often attempt to fix this gap with narrow grip bench presses or cable crossovers. Biomechanical analysis shows these exercises activate the entire chest fiber length uniformly. They cannot force muscle tissue to grow over a bare bone area where no muscle fibers originate. A sternal gap is a structural tendon feature, not a muscle weakness.
The latissimus dorsi inserts into the humerus at the top and originates along the spine and iliac crest at the bottom. Low lat insertions attach deep into the thoracolumbar fascia near the hip bone. This low attachment creates a sweeping V taper that begins immediately above the waistline. It gives the torso a thick, dense appearance from the front and back. High lat insertions originate higher up on the thoracic vertebrae, well above the hips. This leaves a significant gap between the lower ribs and the pelvis. Lifters with high lats can build exceptional upper back width, but their lower waist appears narrow and unmuscled. High lats require significant upper back mass to create a wide visual silhouette. Heavy lat pull-downs and rows expand the circumference of the upper lats. They cannot push the origin point of the muscle lower down the spine.
The triceps brachii consists of 3 heads inserting into the olecranon process of the ulna. The visual density of the back of the arm depends heavily on the insertion of the long and lateral heads. A low triceps insertion means the muscle belly extends almost to the elbow joint. This gives the arm a thick, horseshoe-shaped appearance even when unflexed. A high triceps insertion leaves several inches of exposed tendon above the elbow joint. The muscle mass is concentrated near the top of the arm, near the shoulder. While high triceps can show sharp definition when lean, they lack overall arm volume in relaxed positions. Triceps extensions build fiber diameter across all 3 heads. They cannot shift the muscle tissue closer to the elbow joint. The rectus abdominis is a single continuous muscle sheet divided by fibrous bands called tendinous inscriptions. These connective bands pull the muscle tissue downward, getting distinct pack segments.
The symmetry and count of your abs are entirely dictated by these fibrous bands. Some individuals possess 3 evenly spaced inscriptions, producing a symmetrical 6-pack. Others possess 4 inscriptions, allowing for an 8-pack structure. If the tendinous inscriptions are offset or asymmetrical, the ab blocks will sit unevenly across the torso. Additionally, if an inscription is deep, the separation between abs will appear sharp and defined at higher body fat levels. If the bands are shallow, the abs will look flat even at single-digit body fat. Crunches and leg raises hypertrophy the abdominal muscle tissue. They cannot align crooked tendinous bands or create an extra row of abs.
The gastrocnemius muscle of the calf inserts into the calcaneus via the Achilles tendon. Calf genetics represent one of the most extreme insertion variations in the human body. High calf insertions feature a long Achilles tendon and a short, high muscle belly near the knee socket. This structure is evolutionarily advantageous for sprinting and jumping due to elastic energy storage in the long tendon. However, for muscle building, a high calf insertion presents a major visual limit. The lower two-thirds of the leg remain thin, consisting almost entirely of tendon tissue. Low calf insertions have a short Achilles tendon and a deep muscle belly extending near the ankle. This creates a thick, diamond-shaped leg appearance with minimal effort. Heavy calf raises thicken the short muscle belly, but cannot alter the mechanical length of the Achilles tendon.
The deltoid muscle group attaches to the clavicle, acromion, and spine of the scapula, inserting into the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus. Wide shoulder structure is determined by two genetic factors: clavicle width and deltoid insertion length. Lifters with long clavicle bones have a wider skeletal frame before adding any muscle mass. When combined with a low deltoid insertion further down the humerus, the side deltoid has more surface area to build volume. This combination creates a round, capped shoulder appearance. Lifters with short clavicles and high deltoid insertions have a narrow skeletal frame. Their side deltoids sit higher on the joint, requiring extreme muscle volume to achieve visual width. Lateral raises increase side deltoid fiber thickness. They cannot widen the clavicle bones or lower the humeral insertion point.
The quadriceps group converges into the patellar tendon, which inserts into the tibial tuberosity. The teardrop shape of the inner thigh is formed by the vastus medialis muscle. Low vastus medialis insertions extend directly down to the top of the kneecap. This creates a full teardrop shape that frames the knee joint. High quad insertions terminate several inches above the knee, leaving a visible gap above the joint. Similarly, the vastus lateralis on the outer thigh can insert low for outer quad sweep or high for a narrower thigh profile. Squats and leg extensions increase the total mass of the quadriceps. They do not alter the distal attachment point above the kneecap. Muscular hypertrophy is the enlargement of existing muscle cells through progressive mechanical tension. Your training dictates how thick those muscle cells become. Your genetic tendon insertions dictate where that mass sits on your skeleton. Attempting to change muscle shape by shifting hand positions or angles is a physiological impossibility. Recognizing your structural insertions allows you to set realistic expectations for your physique. Maximize the tension on the muscle bellies you possess. Accept the skeletal frame and tendon architecture you were born with. The science of muscle growth is about thickening fibers, not redesigning anatomy.